Hello, hello. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. This morning I asked the Lord what I should read, where I should go in the Bible, and where He wanted me to focus. And He said 1 Samuel 5. So I opened up the 1 Samuel 5 and I read it. I read a few chapters, and it really spoke to me about how much the Lord fights for us when we are unaware of what He's doing behind the scenes. Okay, so in 1 Samuel 4, actually, it starts. The Israelites and the Philistines had like this big battle, okay? And the Philistines killed a whole bunch of Israelites. They defeated them. The Philistines defeated the Israelites. They stole the Ark of the Covenant. They took it with them, okay? And that's where chapter 5 starts.
Chapter 5. The Ark in Philistia. After the Philistines captured the Ark of God, they took it from the battleground at Ebenezer to the town of Ashdod. They carried the Ark of God into the temple of Dagon and placed it beside an idol of Dagon. But when the citizens of Ashdod went to see it the next morning, Dagon had fallen with his face to the ground in front of the Ark of the Lord. So they took Dagon and put him in his place again. But the next morning the same thing happened. Dagon had fallen face down before the Ark of the Lord again. This time his head and hands had broken off and were lying in the doorway. Only the trunk of his body was left intact. That is why to this day neither the priests of Dagon nor anyone who enters the temple of Dagon in Ashdod will step on its threshold. Then the Lord's heavy hand struck the people of Ashdod and the nearby villages with a plague of tumors. When the people realized what was happening, they cried out, "We can't keep the Ark of the God of Israel here any longer. He is against us. We will all be destroyed along with Dagon, our God." So they called together the rulers of the Philistine towns and asked, "What should we do with the Ark of the God of Israel?" The rulers discussed it and replied, "Move it to the town of Gath." So they moved the Ark of the God of Israel to Gath. But when the ark arrived at Gath, the Lord's heavy hand fell on its men, young and old. He struck them with a plague of tumors, and there was a great panic. So they sent the ark of God to the town of Ekron. But when the people of Ekron saw it coming, they cried out, "They are bringing the ark of the God of Israel here to kill us too." The people summoned the Philistine rulers again and begged them, "Please send the ark of the God of Israel back to its own country, or it will kill us all." For the deadly plague from God had already begun, and great fear was sweeping across the town. Those who didn't die were afflicted with tumors, and the cry from the town rose to heaven. Chapter 6. The Philistines returned the ark. The ark of the Lord remained in Philistine territory 7 months in all. Then the Philistines called in their priests and diviners and asked them, "What should we do about the ark of the Lord? Tell us how to return it to its own country." "Send the ark of the God of Israel back with a gift," they were told. "Send a guilt offering so the plague will stop. Then, if you are healed, you will know it was his hand that caused the plague." "What sort of guilt offering should we send?" they asked. And they were told, "Since the plague has struck both you and your 5 rulers, make 5 gold tumors and 5 gold rats, just like those that have ravaged your land. Make these things to show honor to the God of Israel. Perhaps then he will stop afflicting you, your gods, and your land. Don't be stubborn and rebellious as Pharaoh and the Egyptians were. By the time God was finished with them, they were eager to let Israel go. Now build a new cart and find 2 cows that have just given birth to calves. Make sure the cows have never been yoked to a cart. Hitch the cows to the cart, but shut their calves away from them in a pen. Put the ark of the Lord on the cart, and beside it place a chest containing the gold rats and gold tumors you are sending as a guilt offering. Then let the cows go wherever they want. If they cross the border of our land and go to Beth Shemesh, we will know it was the Lord who brought this great disaster upon us. If they don't, we will know it was not his hand that caused the plague. It came simply by chance." So these instructions were carried out. 2 cows were hitched to the cart, and their newborn calves were shut up in a pen. Then the ark of the Lord and the chest containing the gold rats and gold tumors were placed on the cart. And sure enough, without veering off in other directions, the cows went straight along the road toward Beth Shemesh, lowing as they went. The Philistine rulers followed them as far as the border of Beth Shemesh. The people of Beth Shemesh were harvesting wheat in the valley, and when they saw the ark, they were overjoyed. The cart came into the field of a man named Joshua, and stopped beside a large rock. So the people broke up the wood of the cart for a fire, and killed the cows, and sacrificed them to the Lord as a burnt offering. Several men of the tribe of Levi lifted the ark of the Lord and the chest containing the gold rats and gold tumors from the cart, and placed them on the large rock. Many sacrifices and burnt offerings were offered to the Lord that day by the people of Beth Shemesh. The 5 Philistine rulers watched all this, and then returned to Ekron that same day.
You know, what I found really interesting was that the Philistines took the most precious item from them, the Ark of the Covenant, where God's Spirit rested, right? They stole it from the Israelites, and they disrespected it by placing it next to their own idol. And not only did God punish them, fight against them by giving the people a plague of tumors, but he also made their God bow down to him. Face first. 2 nights in a row. God is not going to be mocked. And what's interesting to me is that this is all happening behind the scenes. The Israelites had no idea what was going on. They were just defeated in battle. Their precious Ark of the Covenant was stolen from them, and they were devastated. But then God, he steps in. And he inflicts these tumors on the Philistines, and they get all scared. You know, they're moving it from town to town, and wherever the ark goes, the tumors go with him, right? And all these people are getting infected, and they're dying, and they're so freaked out that they decide they're going to return it. They're going to return it to the Israelites. And not only that, they're returning it with an offering, a guilt offering of gold. God brought what was stolen from them by the enemy. He brought it back to them with interest. And it was not by their hand. They didn't have to go after it. He did it all for them behind the scenes. They were surprised when they see that ark coming. They were surprised to see it. They were overjoyed to see it. They had no idea God was doing this. He loves us so much. You know, when we think that we have been defeated, the battle is not over. The battle is not over. When we feel like we've been defeated, then God. He had them bring it back, return it, with interest, with a guilt offering. And they professed that the Lord was God. A lot of times our problems, you know, we feel defeated and we don't know what to do. And I want to use the example of my mother, because it is only by his hand that she is alive right now. When she got sent to the hospital, Um, she got sent to an ER, and the doctor, I don't know what was going on with that doctor, but apparently she wasn't having a good day, okay? Because she did not want to be bothered by us. She came in, she talked for maybe 30 seconds with us. She did not look my mother over. She she ordered some blood work, I think, before I got there, and the blood work came back fine. And when I was there, she came in, she talked for about 30 seconds. She said, "There's nothing wrong. We can't find anything wrong with her. We're going to send her home." My mom is laying there. She cannot even stand up. She is so weak. She can hardly open up her eyes. She can't talk. I was livid, okay? And so I asked the doctor, could it be this? You know, could it be an infection? Could it be this? Could it be this? And all the doctor said was no. And she walks right out of the room, like before I could even finish talking to her, right? It's like she did not want to be bothered. So they were getting ready to send my mom home, and I knew this was not supposed to happen, right? This wasn't supposed to happen. If she goes home, something's bad's going to happen, because she was really bad off. Um, but then God, but then God, a nice little nurse comes in to help my mom. Um, she comes in, and I tell her, look, they're sending her home, but I don't think she should be going home. Look at her. You know, just because you guys don't know what's wrong with her doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with her. Um, and that sweet, sweet nurse, she went to bat for us. I didn't have to go approach the doctor. I didn't have to go and state my mind. I was about to, because I was livid. I was mad. I was about to, but I didn't have to, because the Lord stepped in. He brought in this sweet little nurse. She went to bat for us, and they admitted my mother, okay? It has been 2 weeks now. My mother's been in the hospital. 2 weeks. And they were going to send her home. It's just amazing. It's amazing what the Lord does for us. When we're going, also I wanted to mention, when we're going through something, we don't know who God is touching through our circumstance. And I want to tell you something, because it really encouraged me. You know, I came on to YouTube and I asked for prayer for her. And so thankful for everyone who's prayed for her. I'm hoping she'll be able to come home on Friday. That is the plan. Anyways, you know, she got better. She got out of ICU and she was doing better. I gave the update on YouTube saying that, you know, she is recovering, right? And I had a guy contact me, and he told me that the fact that he prayed for my mom and God answered his prayer increased his faith tremendously. God used my mom being in that situation to increase this man's faith. And apparently it was significant enough that he felt like he needed to contact me and tell me about it, right? He doesn't know her. She doesn't know him. But the Lord did something in his heart and in his life through my mother's situation. And this is just one that I know of. You know, I mean, the things that we go through, my mother's going through this thing right now, and it's touching people. I'm sure that's not the only person that that God has used. I'm sure that he's not the only one that God has touched through this situation in a positive way. Because the Lord he uses everything and brings it around for our good, right? He works everything out for our good. And and she texted me today because the hospital's like 30 minutes 30 minutes here from me, so I don't get to see her every day. But she texted me today, and she told me, Andrea, I'm so thankful that you were there that day, because I don't know what would have happened if they would have sent me home. It was all God. He knew exactly which nurse was going to have that heart, that softened heart to not be annoyed that she had to be at work and having to help people. She had that heart of gold that she wanted to help people. And she went to bat for us. And God knew exactly who he needed to send into that room to do that. The things that and he's working in people's hearts. He's changing people's hearts and inspiring people through the situation. The things that he is doing behind the scenes when we are struggling, that's my cat, sorry, is tremendous. Is tremendous. The Lord made the Philistines return what was stolen with interest. He made their God bow down to him, their idol, the non-living God, bow down to him. He in the situation, he made the people profess that he was the living God. All for Israel's benefit and his own glory. He always brings me back to Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you. You only need to be still. And I'm going to quote that forever, because it is something that happens over and over and over again. Don't be discouraged if you can't see it right now. If you feel like the enemy has stolen from you, the Lord is working behind the scenes. He's working behind the scenes. And you will get repaid. And God will not be mocked. I hope this encouraged you today. I'm thankful for all of you, and I'm so thankful for God allowing me to have, this small platform to be able to share his word. It's such a blessing, and it's such a blessing to be able to connect with you guys and pray for you guys. Be encouraged. The Lord's fighting behind the scenes, and the enemy is going to have to pay back what they stole from you, whether it be a person or in the spiritual sense. You're his child. You're his child. You're a prince or a princess under the Most High. I love you guys.